if I had ever realized how much of monetary policy is really just a big game of poker and having a really good poker face and not showing all your cards. The markets moved this week based on commentary that there are going to be 2 more rate hikes on the horizon. However, almost all the analysts that I follow and read and everything I've heard from economists, everyone believes that the Fed is straight up bluffing about any more rate hikes. They know that the markets are watching them and reacting to their commentary, and they also know that the markets are pricing in their moves ahead of time. We talked about this last week. They want to keep the fixed income markets and the equity markets in line. And they need to do that to keep on track with their goals in terms of curbing inflation. So that's why I think they're pretending to be extra hawkish. Now, in case you're not a bird enthusiast, let me explain what hawkish means versus dovish. They're terms used to describe the central bank's monetary policy when it comes to interest rates. When they're controlling inflation, they're hawkish. When they're stimulating economic growth, they're dovish. Hawkish commentary or posturing involves strict, aggressive language and approach to monetary policy with the goal of achieving and maintaining price stability. Dovish is when they're lenient and they're cool and they want to inject funds into the economy to support growth and employment and keep everyone fat and happy, but also active, at least with their wallets. Smart money, though, is trying to skip all these steps and avoid FOMO. Investors want to sell at higher prices, right? So Wall Street pushes FOMO, but the Fed is aware of this and might be going even harder on their hawkish approach because they don't want the numbers to get ahead of themselves. If they go all in on being hawkish in the face of increasingly happier inflation news, then hopefully they can keep people worried about inflation. But is it really going to work is the question. The University of Michigan's latest consumer survey showed that Americans in general are feeling better about inflation. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York also does a consumer survey that showed that near-term expectations on inflation are the lowest they've been in 2 years. So if Main Street is already celebrating inflation cooling, then the Fed is concerned that Wall Street will already be capitalizing on the next shift. So using stern language is their strategy to keep fixed income markets from assuming their next move is going to be down, and secondly, to ensure that equity markets don't push higher, because both of those dynamics could curb our efforts or our progress towards deflation. Basically, if everyone starts buzzing around and celebrating that inflation is over and under control and starts dropping coin, then prices start going back up again, and the Fed really needs to avoid that. They need to avoid prices shooting back up because then we'll be back at an inflationary period. So to do this, they want us to believe that inflation really is not as under control as it is. Let's talk more about what's actually happening on Main Street, specifically the Main Street of real estate. The Real Estate Confidence Index came out for May. Now, this report tells us about the mental health of our colleagues and measures suicide rates and compares them month over month. It showed that while mental health had been a serious concern in our industry, it seems we've turned a corner and people have a much more enthusiastic outlook on life, especially if they work in real estate. I'm just kidding. Actually, that's not what the Realtor Confidence Index measures, and I probably shouldn't joke about, I know I shouldn't joke about suicide, so feel free to go Karen on me. The Realtor Confidence Index actually polls realtors for real-time information on what they're actually seeing as boots on the ground. So the May report showed 3.3 offers per sale. The all-time high on this reading was 5.5 offers, and that was back in April of 2022. May numbers also showed that 31% of homes on the market sold above list price. Nationwide, there's a 3-month supply of homes. 2 months ago, homes were on the market 29 days. 1 month ago, 22 days. May's data showed 18 days. I think these are vital pieces of information to share with your sellers who are stuck on the fence. If you need help relaying any of this information to them, we can help you put together a presentation. We're also happy to call your buyers or sellers who are stuck on the fence. Maybe you don't work with my team as your preferred lender. Maybe you just like watching these videos every week to help you sound smart at dinner or happy hour. Or maybe you just like to watch them to make fun of me and then forward them to your preferred lender so they can do the same. But If you have buyers or sellers who are sitting on the fence, you've got nothing to lose. You could let our team call them, explain to them what's happening, show them the numbers on what we're seeing in the market, just lay out the data for them. Like I said, you have nothing to lose, and maybe we warm up some of those leads for you and get them off the fence. Back to the Fed and monetary policy. They're not going to get a ton of information before their next meeting to discuss a rate hike. One more jobs report and one more inflation report that's likely going to show very good numbers. So it's unlikely they have any reason to end their pause, but I bet their commentary will be super hawkish while their actions are actually quite dovish.